So today I want to focus on how we go about typing people here in iDT. Quite often you will hear in other systems that they hyper-focus on the information in and of itself. We just focus on how you process information. So the information doesn't necessarily matter. So what I mean by that is it's not a fixated thought that all basketball players are SE dominant types. There's a very lazy way of going about typing people. It's more about how is this person filtering or perceiving information? What are they doing in a more enduring way versus a surging way, which is one of our primary dichotomies? Are they detached or attached, which is another dichotomy that's related to certain functions? Attached functions are sensing and feeling types, and detached functions or thinking and intuition. But what type of detach? Is it more reductionistic, or is it expanding? Is it expanding within space, which is more about their surroundings? That'd be more about possibilities. Or is it expanding within time? That'd be more future oriented, looking ahead. And when you start to understand the functions in and of itself, you start to see that they're all kind of like working in cahoots together. But either way, enough of my rambling. Let's go on to see if we could type Larissa of Goblins of Discord here.
So I'm typing Stephen King, who I think is widely accepted on the internet as a 5-wing-6. But I'm going into his full typing, and I think he's one of the weird ones. Obviously, he would be Stephen King. Yeah, and I was like really obsessed with him when I was younger. I can't remember when I started reading his books. I think I was in grade 7. I remember that was when I was like, it was I was like I was so obsessed with horror as a little kid, and so whenever it was like my birthday or I was allowed to pick a movie, it was always Stephen King movies, like which he has a million of, a million books, a million adaptations. Yeah, it was always Stephen King books. It's like you get into R.L. Stine if you're like a kid who's into horror. You start with like start with R.L. Stine, and then you go straight to Stephen King. It's like going from like marijuana to cocaine. um, but like cocaine with like a downer as well because the books are so fucking long. I think that's probably why I really liked his short story collections the most. And also some of his shorter stuff. He often like wrote his less like genre stuff was usually a bit shorter. But he was so prolific, he even wrote under a pseudonym. So, dude has an engine, let's just say. He's definitely not 9 fixed.
So let's pause right here for a second. If you're not careful, you would think because she speaks on concrete things that she is a sensing dominant type. But you have to look at how she's articulating the language, right? In which ways is she hyper-focused? And you got to know the function definitions too. The difference between SE and NE is SE does expand, but it has a focus point because that's what NI does for SE. It gives it a focus point. This is the reason why it is about impact, because that focus point is going to be more concentrated to a particular object, place, or thing. That is not what she's doing. Through her dialogue is more about expanding within an intangible space. She flips or transforms marijuana to cocaine. She invites her experience of it indirectly as well. And it speaks to other things. She adds her opinion, but it's not really flushed out on deductive reasoning. Is more so her opinion based upon what she's experienced and how she feels about it throughout the dialogue, right? She's a high relational factor when she speaks about, well, as a young kid, if you're into this thing, you start here and then you expand to there with Stephen King, and it's a whole nother universe, right? But the expanding of how she's starting the video, speaking about Stephen King, is very much formulaic on to the expression of the possibilities primarily. So in iDT, we would say that this form of articulation is more of a detached mindset over attached. So this is going to be either a thinking type or an intuitive, but it's not reductionistic, it's expanding. There is going to be an intuitive type over a thinking type. So this is most likely an ideating dreamer or an imaginative ideator. So that's within the ideation of dreamers category. So far, leaning in this direction. Introverted or extroverted, the way she's formulating her information is based on um, the explorative nature of it. This is the difference between a cognitive introvert versus a cognitive extrovert. And I'm leaning extrovert because of that. Sounds like a perception type just based off definition of expansion. And we'll get into the other stuff later.
He's got that maniac energy, that just fucking nonstop writing energy. Yeah, I think I remember reading The Mist on a road trip where I was stuck in a car with my parents for a really long time, and The Mist was like, whoa, when I first read it. And I love the adaptation of The Mist. The ending is so fucking good if you haven't watched it. Not the TV show, I'm talking about the movie. But yeah, I'll just like look at his stuff for a second because it's so self-preservation social, like the writing style. It starts with like the weather, the location, the date, the weather. This is such a like self-pres social framework, I think. It's like this is what happened on the night, the worst, it's the heat wave in New England, the thunderstorm, the long lake, the water, the dark. I don't know. It's very self-pres socially. This I'm not really selling this story per se, but um, worth. I think his stuff's worth reading. Obviously, he's like, and just Carrie. I think Carrie was the first book that he got published, and it's I think still one of his best books. I kind of haven't read anything for a long time. Kind of unhinged on Twitter. It's very political to the point where one might mistake him for a six or a social self-pres. It's just, yeah, a lot of political, anti-Trump, I don't even know. But I will say this, he does post a lot of other people's work. This is one thing about Stephen King, is that he's very supportive of other people, other writers, other creatives. He's very generous with his time. Like, I actually don't know how he finds this much time in his day, which again points against him not being nine fixed, because five is a withdrawn type to begin with. So he would have to have other stuff going on to give him that momentum. But he does promote other people's stuff. He actually promoted one of my best friend's movies, and it was like a huge highlight last year for my friend. It was like very meaningful. So I like I like that he's not one of those shitty like old school gatekeepers. He's very generous with his time because he reads and watches other people's stuff. And I think that that's big actually because I'm pretty sure he's a five wing six, but he's generous with his time and energy. He promotes other people. And so I think that that speaks to him having a two fix potentially.
So again, everything is being preference on expanding. She also doesn't seem like she's reading from anything that she's wrote. Seem like she's kind of just like going in the moment. And in the moment doesn't have to be related to SE. Also, NE can be in the moment. In the moment just basically means a more responsive element there that's going to be tied to something that is more adapting itself, utilizing the concrete nature, or it can go the intangible route as well. But her expansiveness is what I mean by in the moment, to where she's reacting and kind of formulating ideas, almost playing with ideas and not being her reductionistic factor, because we all have one, is being used, but it's more of the FI than it is the TI. It's not about like conceptual ideas she's speaking about. It's more about um, reasoning it down to how she feels about what he's doing and sharing her opinion based off of that. Um, it's right there. She's serving it to you straight. It's ideation, and it extends to imagination, And that imagination to FI is more about how she feels about what she is playing with, which is this form of ideation. So this is so far an ideational dreamer. We clarified that this is an extrovert over an introvert, clarified that this is a perception type over a rational type. We clarified that this is a detached type over an attached type. What is she enduring? She's enduring more so ideation and imagination based on how she feels. So that's an assimilation function of FI. All extroverted types utilize assimilation function for whatever their preference is of what's instrumental. What's instrumental is your pillar and your same attitude auxiliary, and your assimilation function pulls their opinion based on what it is that they are object oriented, playing around with, conceptualizing through ideas in a more broad oriented fashion based on possibilities. An extrovert that's going to be either the politician or the experimenter, but she utilizes FI over TI, so that's going to be more the experimenter, which is a great archetype name. And you can hear that because it's more speaking about that's exactly what she's doing, right? Her formulation and how she's processing is more experimental with these possibilities and ideas in order to bring in how she feels about it secondary.
Yeah, we'll watch some videos in a second, but I just kind of wanted to like set this up a little bit. He posts a lot about his dogs. It's like either movies or dogs. He has, I think, 3 kids. 2 of them are writers. I really like Joe Hill's stuff that I've read. Yeah, and like he's in a band. He's doing a lot of stuff. Like again, like I don't know where he finds like his fucking energy to do all of this shit. So, and he's old now. Um, he also sequestered himself in Bangor. People can find him. Everybody knows where he lives. You can take a photo in front of his house. He doesn't really seem to care that much, I don't think. So again, for a 5, I think that speaks to him having, I think he's 8 fixed as well. So I think he's triple rejection, which is a rare combo. I think the only other person I've typed with that, like on this channel, is Grace Jones, who I typed 8-5 to. But yeah, I think, assuming both of these are even right. But he has like this big mansion in Bangor. I think it's Bangor. Yeah, Bangor, Maine. And tons of nerds take photos in front of his spiderweb gate. But he's like a happy guy. Like, so I can't claim credit for noticing this, but I'm not crediting the person who did notice it because I don't like them anymore. But somebody did notice that because we were talking about how a lot of his movies, and his books rather, Christine is actually one of my favorite books of his, like full books. It's like the fear of the car, right? Fear of the car turning on you, killing you. And then that's shown up in a lot of his other stuff. Like he directed Maximum Overdrive, which is like I think he was like fucked up on cocaine for the entire thing. So it's like this crazy action packed. Um, when he got really maniacal and was like, I'm gonna be a director too, like which I get. Like it's like why not, right? You're this prolific, you might as well take your energy and like redirect it elsewhere. I don't think it was quite for him though. Probably.
You know, what's funny because she's like, I can't take full credit from this idea, but the person who produced this idea, I don't like them, so I'm not going to give them credit in the public while mentioning it in the public at the same time, right? So that's a very like FI thing to do is like, you're expanding on it through the ideas, right? You're ideating on it externally, primarily. And then you do a hard stop with FI. I will not do this for this particular individual because they, I don't like them or they hurt me or whatever the case is, right? This is very much an ideational dreamer, but an extrovert in edom with fi assimilation. She's bringing in how she feels about what's being ideated upon after the fact. It's an expanded dreaming to something that's more personal to her, how she feels about it. Yeah, interesting.